So, like Michael Jackson said, this is it. The last one. I was gonna post this video up when my new website was up and running, but I'll just post up the link to my site at a later date. The more time I take to build my website, then the less time I would devote to finishing things up here. And I always like to complete what I start. So, Saturday, October 9th, 2021. I gotta say this, but I'll touch on it more later. You see this shit? Doc Fauci and gain-of-function research allegedly linking him in the United States to the same virus that forced the world to be scared. I peeped y'all to the game with this dude in 2 videos. Only a few people asked the real question. How in the fuck did this guy in the World Health Organization know so much about a new virus in the first place? This virus had never been seen before, and yet, y'all seen it. I said in both these videos, how can he say that this is going to be 10 times deadlier than the flu? And yet, the virus was new. It had never run its course. That's red flag number 1. I said, this dude was from my era, old school. You can even hear it in his voice because he sounds like an old school mobster sometimes. Why is he suddenly appearing right now in this era? When the government digs up old bastards, that's red flag number 2. And here is good old red flag number 3. Of course you would know about a virus if you were one of the people who funded the research on it. You pretty much paid for the creation of it and the information of what it can do. Again, allegedly. But let's be honest here, folks. It's been well over a year and we have answers and yet more questions. And YouTube and social media and even some of your friends, they don't want y'all questioning shit. What a fucking world, right? I would have loved to do another COVID video, but YouTube is so bad with this censorship now that they'll just take it down. Like, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but with me, they even censor some of my replies on comment boards with this COVID stuff. I'll reply and it simply won't post. If you come with facts, if you show legitimate sources of info, you're a target. But they let the conspiracy comments overtake the comment boards with no problems. This way, you don't know which way is up. Like this dude, Young Ripper 59. He literally says everything I would like to say and have tried to say, but I get censored. He cites the CDC like I did and can even flat out say the jab doesn't work, but they don't take his stuff down. Even a dude like Kwame Brown, they'll censor or delete his shit. So I have no clue how Young Ripper gets away with his views on COVID and the jab. It looks like some of us are chosen, perhaps. Or not, but either way, it's a game that I don't have the patience for. But just cause I want to push knowledge forward, here's something, just a little something I would have put in the next COVID video. That's from the COVID antibody test that you can get from Quest Diagnostic Labs. Now Quest is like LabCorp. They're all over the United States. They offer all kinds of testing that you can pay for. Their COVID antibody test requires blood and is the only kind of test I use. There's too many false positives and negatives with the nasal COVID test. Usually, the blood don't lie. But check out the disclaimer. It can show up as positive for antibodies if you recently had the common cold. Again, this test, this COVID antibody test, will show up as positive if you recently had the common cold. Marinate on that shit. And check this video right here. Again, because I told y'all a lot. And I told y'all about that common cold thing in this video. I think y'all should really dig up this article right here and even research how deadly the flu actually is, because contrary to what many of you have been programmed to believe via the phones and TV, the flu is alive and well and still giving out respiratory diseases like pneumonia and actively killing folks by the tens of thousands. Anywho, I'm in a good space. This is all gonna pass. You know, this was going to be a totally different video, but I might as well turn it into some teachable moments, complete with some off the dome stuff. And can I be me in this one? I mean, just let this shit fly, relax my voice, like my very first video that I erased years ago. This one here, it may come out a tiny bit disjointed, but one thing does flow to the next in a weird way. I'm gonna try, operative word is try, to keep this video from looking like the words on a Dr. Bronner's soap bottle. Cause that man be going in on that bottle, don't he? He be saying some shit though. I'll apologize if this video is too long. That's just because I'm relaxed. I'm slowing my voice down and that's it. But the way I figure it is, if thousands of people can watch The Breakfast Club or Kwame Brown or whoever for over an hour and be locked in, then face it, I'm either interesting to you guys at this point or I'm not. You may watch or don't watch. Hit the thumbs down button for being too long or something, if it makes you feel better. For YouTubers that like to farm lead, see what I did there? And the girls and the boys in the back, let me be a bit clearer on why I don't allow comments on here. Keep in mind that I actually felt bad about what I'm about to tell y'all, but sometimes shit happens despite your efforts. Anyway, 2021, September 12th, I think it was, give or take a day, I sent an email to a YouTuber. If you garden, you already know who he is. As a matter of fact, I just messed with his handle a second ago when I said for people that like to farm lead. In this email, I let him know that I had concerns regarding his content. Not the man, which I specified, but the content and how it affects people in a real way. My email was really about a word to the wise, looking out for another human being. Because his videos are about knowledge and preparation, but I pointed out certain things that could work against him in the long run. Especially when you consistently talk about quote unquote something coming and being prepared and such. All of that is fear-based stuff. Doesn't really matter if it's true or not. It's fear-based and that does things to people. I won't be more specific because it's not the kind of things you type or speak about in a public comment section because people get ideas from words. Which is why I was sure to email him instead of posting it on his public comment board for his thousands of subscribers to see. Now keep in mind, I'm a big fan of regular conversation, not emails and texts, because when you read something, you never know how the person is saying it. It's what you imagine them sounding like. Literally, I actually hate texting and writing. Before I typed anything, and even in closing, I made sure to apologize if my words came across as any way disrespectful. It was an email I never had to write, but I feel that this is a good brother, regardless of how this story ends here. I wrote that email out of concern, nothing more. I had already imagined the chance that what I said was going to come across the wrong damn way. Because this YouTuber had a video of his arm bandaged up because someone spoke to him the wrong way at the job. My kind of guy, actually. I'll explain that later. Anyway, I get a response, and it's all about how I can criticize him, but no one can criticize me on my comment section. That someone who doesn't allow criticism or can't take criticism has a major, in big letters, problem. This is very true, y'all. No one should be above a question or constructive criticism. 75% of the email was about me not allowing comments. Not really about anything I emailed. The bottom line is, I was dismissed and that's okay. We didn't have to agree. It was a criticism and he gave me a counter one. Here's the problems. 1, I criticized him and he lost his fucking mind. Then proceeds to tell me that a person who can't take criticism has a major problem. Let that sink in. I'm no psychologist, but I think that's projection when people say you are the way they actually are. Secondly, he had my email for a long time because I asked him questions about some plum trees I had. Very knowledgeable guy, he really is. I mean, we chopped it up a little bit off topic one time, but point is, he had my email. He could have always criticized me. It just wouldn't have been public. It would have been a conversation between us folks pertaining to the conversation, not everyone. That's how I was raised. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know that's why I used his email to reach out to him in the first place. Respect. Now in the past, this brother asked me twice, at least, on his comment board to allow comments on my videos. I mean, he was hyped about it. Quote, I'll be the first one to comment. Real positive. I mean, he seemed to dig my work over here. And I didn't just say no like a jerk. I mean, I could have been a jerk because I had to answer him twice about the same thing, but that's not me. I told him twice the things I say are heavy subjects and people online tend to be very disrespectful online. because they aren't in your face. I don't take kindly to disrespect in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was a respectfully dead issue. Twice. Or maybe he was salty for some time because I didn't do what he suggested. Because literally the very first thing in his reply was, so you can criticize others, but no one can criticize you. Yet, there he was, criticizing me, right there, in my email, as he was always able to do, from the start. Email, which he had for months. He could have challenged or criticized my videos or my opinions anytime, but for whatever reason, he wanted an audience of people to see him doing so. So he chose instead to sit quiet and judge my character negatively. Possibly because I didn't do as he suggested. I'm a sensitive man, and I think he is too. I've seen videos where he clearly is about to cry tears of joy, which is a beautiful thing. I do that shit too, all good. But I gotta tell it from the mountaintop. Calming the fuck down before I responded to situations that pissed me off is one of the reasons I'm alive today. My dad, another sensitive guy, was a dude who would knock you out if you said the wrong thing. He would always say, watch how you talk to me, son. Not ironically, that's why I watch how I talk to people. Home cooking. Let me tell you a story. So I remember one day my dad had asked me to do something and I told him some slick shit. And all I remember, I swear to God, was 3 lights in my head. Boop, boop, boop. He told me to go to school, but I don't remember shit about that school day. I got fucked up in the story. But my dad was like that. And he was always sorry about it later. Because he snapped on a lot of people, physically and verbally. That's my dad. Sensitive, passionate, a fighter. I am cut from that same cloth. I have known that man since I was in daycare. I've never seen my actual dad, my biological dad, my sperm donor. My father, Philip Jones, is the only father I have ever had. So when I say I'm cut from the same cloth as that man, I'm not bullshitting you. But I'm a bit more compassionate than my father. I've fought enough, and I know what I'm capable of once I flip that switch. Consider this. Your parents constantly letting you know to watch out or somebody is going to get you because of the neighborhood you live in. It just makes you twitchy. It makes you think about how people might attack you. You don't trust nobody. That's how my dad grew up in Philly. And he raised me the same way when we lived in Red Hook Projects in Bed-Stuy after that. Stay ready. That's been my life. And when the shit is on, you explode. You don't want this dude coming back to harm you. Because usually it's somebody from your own neighborhood trying to take what's yours. You want to leave that lasting impression so the next time they see you, they think twice about that shit. That was my programming. Defend myself without question. But I never want to start shit. So I give people chances. I walk away hoping you don't touch me. Because truthfully, just because I walk away doesn't mean I'm not angry at the shit you said that was out of pocket. I just don't have that thing that says, oh, well, you just talk. I just don't have that thing. In any circumstance. Understand? In any circumstance, actual or virtual. So see, if I know that about myself, that I don't know how to kindly take disrespect, why in the blue hell would I allow any random troll access to videos that take me hours to find pictures for and edit? Why would I allow some asshole to piss over something that I respect? This video stuff is work. It's time I'm not getting back, but what I'm hoping to accomplish is well worth it. Ain't no money in this for me because YouTube would take a bunch of it and give me scraps. I don't advertise this page, nor do you ever hear me say, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button. My reasons for putting so much time into this page is because I'm moved that strongly to do it. These videos are needed in some way, shape, or form. I'm just heeding the call God or the universe is possibly giving me. And if you think that's rather pretentious, then I'm just letting you know how I just see myself. These words that I'm getting, I truly don't know where they come from. I don't believe that they would just simply come from my mind. But I'll get into that later. Regardless of how you take my videos, I'm coming in peace with my opinion. I give humans 2 options. Don't watch or watch. Shit, you can even half watch and thumbs down the video. Make yourself feel good like Halle Berry in Monsters Ball. But the bottom line is, I know there's some folks out there who really want to have respectful discourse. People who respectfully disagree with my views. For those people, in the intro, there's my website. And at the end of every video, there's my Instagram and my webpage. The webpage has a big old comment section, and the bio has my email address, I believe. It's a nice and simple WordPress blog. My IG, request me and I'll accept, and then we chop it up, no problem. And you know what? People have been using those two things, usually Instagram, to contact me for some time now. After all, I've only been doing these videos for a couple of years now. Yeah. But let me go in a little bit about constructive criticism, because there might be a lot more other people that like to farm lead out there. What is a theory if it's not tested? What's an opinion if it's not something you've lived to learn? You have to get criticized in order to see if what you're saying is true for you or not. It makes you better. You can't walk this earth living your own truth, thinking life is like that, when in reality, life is like this. You might fuck around and get hit with a brick. Oh shit, that rhymed. Let me put that little bars thing there. Anyway, you gotta fuck up and take criticism, which I'll explain later. Or you gotta have actual conversations, and the criticism is usually in those conversations. Case in point, the 2 videos about the LGBTQ, those alone, I had to have conversations with people that are gay, trans, and lesbian. Luckily, I'm close to that community. I'm not just, oh, my cousin is gay. No, I have history with the gay community. My wife has history with the gay community. So by extension, I'm married with the gay community. Back in my day, I was what was called a village head. When Greenwich Village, rest in peace, my love, was nothing but punk, weird, and yes, gay. I'm not gay, but I'm definitely weird. And I relate to anyone who sees reality different, but not in a way that harms others. I don't agree with everything that the LGBTQ community does, and I'm vocal about it in general conversation. But the conversations weren't over emails and comment boards. These were face-to-face or over the phone. I have to be careful about what I'm saying in these virtual social media and YouTube spaces. This work here is public and possibly viral. It doesn't matter how many people watch my videos. One hateful, jealous, or willfully ignorant person can fuck up a group. Voice, sound, this stuff is energy. You gotta watch the energy you put out. It's not me to attack gay people or quote unquote trans, but if I don't know what I'm saying or haven't had conversations with people, then something I say in my video could be misconstrued. Consideration. How would I know how to be sensitive to others if I didn't listen? Respectful criticism. You have to converse with people, hear different opinions. Texting ain't gonna fucking cut it. But I'm not gonna allow an open YouTube comment section on a heavy subject like gender, where you have people talking about harming gay people, and that's me paraphrasing the shit nicely. It's ridiculous, but it's what I've seen on this platform, and many of you have as well. My proudest moments with that gender video. Someone based a college assignment on it and got a passing grade. You know, one of the main points of that video was that labels are a slippery slope. Black, white, gay, so-called trans, whatever pronouns you want to call yourself. Everyone wants to be something other than the label of human being. Everyone would rather be defined by something else. Like identifying as a human being is lame. And the thing is, you're losing your humanity in the eyes of others as a result of your actions. You're so worried about establishing yourself that you're losing yourself. Some wild shit, ain't it? A lot of y'all are focusing on a part of humanity, skin color, gender, ethnicity, and sexual orientation, instead of the whole human being. In this reality, human being, you are first and foremost. Work on the truth of you, because it's a truth you can't escape. You're born humans and you'll always be. I watched Dave's new special and 2 things stuck out. 1, he admits that he is transphobic. It's like acknowledging that you're racist. It's a big time admission of a problem. Number 2, he kept using the word trans. It's not the word to use. What's the right word? It isn't post-op or he, she, or anything else I would have seen in the YouTube comment section. It's human being. These are human beings trying to find peace in a society that makes that difficult. These same humans wonder if the inner turmoil they have felt for most of their lives would be non-existent in a world that just accepted everyone who is of no threat to anyone else. Alternately, to the LGBTQ community, you are made up of human beings and your community has its failings and its predators, like any community. Comedians use satire. They should be allowed to do so because satire can be socially changing, and it has been. Satire can show us our failings right on stage and make us consider to do better. It takes us out of our comfort zone. That's the way an art like comedy can be transformative. A comedian should not be muzzled. LGBTQ and cancel culture, period. What you're doing is only going to create the one comedian that America needs. The one comedian that makes fun of everyone. The comedian that satires everything. That's right, you can be made fun of too. He can use every word in the book. And if you find it offensive, the art form dictates that he is showing you that we need to change. Maybe you're being too sensitive, or maybe he struck a nerve that you need to find peace with. This future comedian, he can be white and use the N-word, because if we still use it in human language, then why can't he use it? Thus showing the truth that it can never be a term of endearment. Showing that we should probably get rid of an offensive term. If he makes gay jokes, then it's going to be about things that legitimately go on in the gay community. Some mean things, just like the N-word. The LGBTQ community wouldn't like it, but it would show you that no human is perfect, and we are all humans. We need to face our shit and try to fix it. Nothing changes unless you face it. Letting time just go on doesn't work. 400 years of black culture will tell you that shit. No one should be above criticism. No group is without its failings. On stage, the comedian is there to remind any group, black, white, Spanish, gay, and even organized criminals, you're not gonna act like a mob that everyone should fear. Fuck that shit. Don Rickles used to make fun of mobsters. And Don Rickles is one of the coldest insult comics in the game, son. Think about that shit. You know, I remember gay bashing. I remember people getting targeted because HIV was a gay man's disease. I remember the fear LGBTQ, queer, or gay community as a whole felt. Dave is saying that if you don't want people to fear you, and if your message is about acceptance, then your message is not coming across correctly because people are fearing you versus accepting you. People are agreeing with Dave's sentiment by the thousands. Listen to the man instead of vilifying him. That's why I said a so-called black man can learn something from a white supremacist. See, when a comedian works, let him work. You may not like the joke, but he didn't create society. He uses satire as a way to show the irony of things, the hypocrisy we are all guilty of as human beings from time to time. Nothing Dave has said was hate speech. Your concern is that it can be interpreted as such by society. How you say things is job one. That's why I did this video right here. To the LGBTQ community, what is your message? And is it getting lost? After you say your piece, interpretation depends on intellect just as understanding does. The intellect of the current society is not any comedian's job to be concerned about. His job is to read the room he is in, and by extension, the city he is in, because every city has a different culture. What you can say in some hick town is not the same thing you can say in San Francisco, you dig it? Raising the intellect of society is a responsibility of every parent and teacher and intellectual that has a wide audience. Comedians are human beings, and they will thus follow suit and become more intelligent in their satire when society becomes more intelligent. Dave has a wide audience, but he is not an intellectual. He is a comedian. Yes, what he says matters. But if that's the case, then remember, he keeps saying that he is a comedian. He uses satire. When are you going to listen? Comedy is an art form, and the job of an artist is not to bow down and give you what the fuck you want. It's to show you what you need to see, even if you don't like it. If Dave sparks convos about treating people better, if he makes the LGBTQ community rethink their message and how they are pushing that message, then he did his work as an artist. My atheism video. Let me say that most atheists are some of the most intelligent people I've ever met. Hands down. I elevated just by talking to them cats. You have to know what you're talking about with a lot of them. Science game needs to be on point. If you're just some Bible thumping zealot, then an atheist will show you how dumb you sound. Sometimes respectfully, other times not so much. But many atheists make science their God. They can become zealots about science. You're actually seeing some science zealots a lot nowadays, ain't you? They forget that science is continually evolving. What you were so sure about in 1975 is not the same in 2021. Things become outdated, information and such, because it's replaced by better information, which is basically just a better understanding of things. Something is obsolete because something better replaced it, or it can be no longer produced. 1 minute you're protected from severe symptoms, and then you're not. The universe, the biological, or even God, if you prefer, comes first. We are always seeking to understand how it works. We are always one step behind creation. It was first. There's nothing we can do about that. This is a truth of human existence. Y'all know I'm spiritual, which is really about the very real science of dimensions, length, width, and height, space, time, relativity. I'm also into quantum physics, which makes you look at reality like, holy shit, we ain't seeing a damn thing. In my conversations with atheists, our opinions went back and forth, but in the end, for the most part, a person that bases reasoning on science can't say that in this vast universe that there is not a supreme power, something that dwarfs everything we know, because we do not, scientifically and factually, know the full extent of this universe yet. But you have to converse. You have to subject yourself to different opinions. Criticism as well. Racism. I've had conversations with legit white supremacists and alternately black power militants. Not emails, not texts, conversations over the phone or face to face. You have to subject yourself to different opinions. Man, when I speak my opinion on blackness and how there aren't actual black colored people, those convos get heated as hell, man. Especially with militant and the so-called woke people. But I ain't never been called a coon, not to my face. Partly because of my countenance. And secondly, my opinion is based in evident truth that we use every day. A can of black paint versus human being. Add the history of it all and I make a compelling argument. That's just the facts of it, the truth of it. Gender, atheism, racism, 3 subjects alone. Go ahead and tell me that a nice open YouTube comment section is going to be nothing but intelligent and respectful comments. Go ahead and tell me that the comment section is going to be nothing but constructive criticism on such subjects that trigger the average person out there. Yeah, go ahead and tell that fucking lie to somebody that's stupid. What you think, I don't use YouTube myself? That I'm not a commenter? I see ignorant shit all the time in these comments. There's a Joe Rogan episode with Dave Chappelle. Joe Rogan told Dave don't ever read the comments. And the one comment that Dave read, that shit got to him. These are 2 successful comedians used to criticism. But there's a difference between criticism and disrespect. It's real shit. These online thugs, aka bitch ass motherfuckers, will say shit that they would never say in your face. Y'all think that's cool or okay to allow or accept it as just how people are online? No, fuck that shit. Disrespect is never acceptable. But because I use my head and I have knowledge of self and I know how most react online, then a YouTuber, who I explained myself to twice, still thinks that I'm above criticism. I tell you folks, I'm 48, and in this age group, everybody wants to talk, but nobody wants to listen. You know, the reason I've had so much to say is because I've listened and I've lived. You know, you live and learn. That's how it goes. That shit is legit. You know, what's the point of this quote-unquote getting old shit if we don't reflect? If we can't politic or build with one another as older people? Message? The only thing I'm guilty of is making people do a little extra to comment. That's it. It's psychology. People want it easy. If you make it difficult, most don't bother. The shit worked like a charm. Because as a life rule, as human beings, we ain't equipped to answer to everybody. So you gotta protect your body. I addressed that in this video right here. And also, keep in mind that this YouTube dude has moderators. People designed to keep the same kind of people I'm talking about out. So he understands exactly what I'm saying. He just ain't seem to like me marching to my own drum. You can't make this shit up, as Kevin Samuels likes to say. But fuck it, let's keep going. This is YouTube. Whatever you put on here is a production. Even if you're not trying to sell a product, you're giving people something of yours to see. Whoever you're watching is giving you a persona. It's not all they are, just a small sample of what they're capable of doing in real life. Since this is an age where who you like means so much, thanks to the invention of the almighty like button, it's important that I let y'all know that you really don't know these public figures that you like so much and follow. When someone says anything about someone y'all follow and like, a lot of you are willing to ride or die defending a person you've never met or spent any significant time with. It's not a good idea to become enamored with the messenger, because usually they're humans and they'll make mistakes. However, the message, the words they speak, may resonate with you and help you out in the worst times. Or those words can make things worse if they cause division or fear. Preachers make their money for a reason, folks. They understand the power of the word, and so do I. And it's important that I stand by my words and verbal opinions 100% or keep my mouth shut. But I always say that my opinions are subject to change right there in the description, because life is change. After all, I could be very wrong. My opinions are not fake, plagiarized, or produced. If you quote my words, you ain't gonna find it nowhere else unless I'm the one that said it. How I talk in my videos, that's where the production comes in, the creation. Real life, I'm not that damn eloquent. I talk regular, pretty much what I'm doing now. My first 2 or 3 videos, I talk nice and slow, my usual shit. But I was doing way too many, know what I'm saying, and a lot more curse words. I mean, this ain't me at home or outside with my peoples. This is public. If I'm gonna get my point across, I gotta speed it up with less slip-ups. I knew I was capable of doing better, so I just did it. I erased my first few videos and started over and gradually spoke faster. I used better diction and inflection, stuff like that. Inflection is important as hell, I learned. I gave y'all my best because y'all deserve it. As simple as that. Plus, I gotta respect myself. Know better, do better, know what I'm saying? I was always a better writer than speaker, so I wrote my words out. Everything I wanted to say, then I dictated them. I took my time getting the right pictures. The pictures are the hardest part because I'm telling stories with the pictures as well, I know how important words and visualization are in getting points across. Sound and art, words and images, we're hypnotized by these 2 things every day. I figure I may as well use them to bring some good knowledge, some deep ponderings. I feel that God guided my pen to write these words that some people out there are gonna need. The children especially, because the role models ain't really teaching them shit, but to conform. I got no problem with the man wearing a dress. In the entertainment industry, that's usually good for business. He ain't stopping me from living my life, so do you, boo. But I always find it odd that a so-called black man can be quote-unquote fierce in a dress, but not be fierce when it comes to speaking about things that are wrong with our society. That's that conformity shit. There's no advancement, no change if we all conform. You need rebels. That's pretty much why we have anything. Rebels are people who think different or weird. Eccentrics. Y'all spend so much time talking down about these folks that y'all don't realize how intelligent they really are. Damn, I wish the village never died. Shit. Fuck, man. But yeah, a lot of y'all would just rather be normal, no matter what. Go back to normal. As if before 2020, society didn't have major damn problems. I'll show you how deep it gets. Consider this, if you will. This is not how I see it. It's what's happening. See, all everyone does is complain that rappers sound the same. All movies are the same. No originality is all people bitch about. Yet, do a bunch of y'all get together to fix it? or boycott it in order for these so-called artists to get the message? No, y'all don't. You do not. You accept it as the way the times are right now. But that's that bullshit. Don't blame time itself. Time is innocent. A conscious human mind. That's what affects time. So blame human beings of the time if you're seeing the same shit. What are they producing, these humans? Constant originality or conformity? But then the weirdo, the rebel, the new guy with the new style, Mr. Originality, comes along and changes the entire game. And then the next class copies him. Who among you is going to be a rebel and become a filmmaker and change the game of these lame and formulaic movies? Look at all these remakes starring who y'all like, instead of totally new actors that y'all would love if given a chance. You didn't know Donald Glover before, but y'all love him now. See? Read some of his interviews. He is a non-conformist. Don't conform. The shit is deep. You're so worried about the gatekeepers and establishment being liked that you forgot the entertainers make it because they are unique. Look at Zac Efron. Probably the most handsomest or prettiest guy in Hollywood or whatever the hell. That's a unique character, man. That's a unique face. That's why he got big. The gatekeepers want you to be different, look different, sound different, so they can market you. And yes, even your face. Hell, a man in a dress is lame now. It's been done too many times. Hollywood is looking for something different. And hip-hop has turned into whatever is hip, others just hop onto it. But the shit gets even deeper. Remember, this is what's happening, not my opinion. Look around at your Starbucks, your Targets, chain stores, that's what they call, turning your neighborhoods into the same as the other neighborhood. Your neighborhood is not yours. There's nothing special about it. Mom and pop stores are what made neighborhoods special, unique. Without different stores, your surroundings become vanilla, predictable. Chain stores kill small independent stores in your neighborhoods, and some of your soul goes with it, especially when you go to work for those chain stores. If you work at a small private business, they know your name, your family. You fuck around and get days off you don't even deserve. Target don't care if your family lives or dies, unless you get shot in one of their stores. Mom and pop stores showed the youth that you can have your own store and work for yourself. Notice how capitalism shifted and said, fuck that. We want everyone working for a corporation. This way it's easier to control how you move and think. Y'all need to rebel against that shit. Have your own business. It's not illegal yet. You don't need a storefront. If you have a marketable skill, you'll always be in demand. If you can do people's taxes, you'll have a source of income for about 6 months out of a year. If you're a good mechanic, that's another source of income. But the best solo jobs? Electrician, telecommunications, IT, contractors. Hands down. I know people in those fields, and even the fucking pandemic ain't mess up their business. I put these pictures in my videos for reasons. To make y'all think. To give you ideas if you can't come up with any. I learned that from watching advertisements. Look, the point is, rebel. Don't conform. Go out on your own and bet on yourself. There's room for everyone in the job market. That's how deep things are. And some of y'all may not have noticed it. And if you do notice it and been wanting to bet on yourself, then why haven't you? Maybe you're like most, you just don't have the energy. Or feel that someone else is already doing the shit that you want to do. But I just told you, there's enough money for everyone. There's billionaires and millionaires. That means that you can get some of that shit too. Why do you think there's not just one store called Dunkin' Donuts? There's a bunch of them. The chain stores are getting all the money that could be your donut store. If the people that created Krispy Kreme thought about Dunkin' Donuts, then they would have never created a Krispy Kreme franchise. Krispy Kreme basically said, fuck Dunkin' Donuts. That's the rebel. You so worried about other people, if there was no social media, you wouldn't think that way. Because of Facebook or IG, you know about everyone else's business and don't focus on your own life. Spending at least an hour looking at other people's lives. Fucking with your confidence. Aren't you special? What about you? Why do you need likes or dislikes? Why do you need so many opinions? Why isn't a few good people around you enough for you to make it happen for yourself, man? What have you learned about yourself from your ups and downs? What have you been through? What have you learned about yourself? What is your character? There's the video. There's no one that's had the life you've lived. You are literally a unique human being in design and point of view. This is science fact until that changes. Do what you're created to do. Think different and you'll see different, and then create different. You've something to contribute that no one else can. So be that rebel. Don't conform. Fail and get back up. Shit, a lot of people are about to get their chance to see what they can come up with because of these mandates. If you fired, it's time to create your own business. Your neighborhood needs it, trust me. Even nurses are being fired. The same people that were on the so-called front lines. They were the heroes. Now, some of them choose to make a choice for their own body and they're villains who don't deserve to have a job. Keep in mind, a negative test means you don't have COVID in your body to infect anyone. The nurses, the heroes, aren't even given the option of testing. Despite what you did months ago, putting your health on the line, they want you to conform despite the rights you have as an autonomous and conscious human living being. Talking about, quote, people made a choice not to get jabbed. What fucking choice do people have? If you don't get jabbed, you lose your job. You can't go to public places in cities like New York and LA, and the NBA players, they treat the unjabbed ones, the ones who have nothing to infect anyone with, like they got some terrible disease. People that want to be patient and are taking care of themselves are brave people right now. They are the ones who chose to assess this scientifically and medically historic and thus ever-evolving worldwide situation. That's not stupid. That's intelligent, especially in an age where patience is not normal. Conformity. Anyone who lost their job because you chose to be patient about what you put into your body. To those people, I say, welcome to Black culture. This is the cookout we always talk about inviting folks to. But all this is year one of some change. This is the beginning of the next decade. I think it'll all settle in by year 5. The observant will have a clearer idea of the game by then, while those who just want to be lied to, marginalized and fearful, those who want normal, will be willing to conform to do whatever is needed. They don't trust the people up top to do the right thing. They know these people will withhold information from them, but yet they have to feel normal. The people in the elected government, we now know, will use the media to censor anyone else and only allow their friends a voice. Don't get upset, folks, because most of y'all thought cancel culture was okay. How does it feel to not have a fucking voice, to have your livelihood taken, to be canceled because you didn't want to follow what was normal? I suggested in this video that you be a variable, a good one, not a destructive one. Is how things changed from the normal. All these videos are about Generation X, Y, Z, and instructions or warnings for Generation Alpha. These videos are about helping younger folks navigate today, and especially, quote unquote, tomorrow, the future. My themes are self-discovery, affirmation, spirituality, understanding the strategy of divide and conquer and the means to overcome that strategy. I promote empathy, which is part of the reason we have morality in its concepts in the first place. I promote balance, etc. I want the future, the youth, to know what was wrong during this era so that they can have a blueprint for change. The current times show that we have a long way to go, but when I see the past, it shows me that we are going forward at least. So let's keep going. I will apologize if my demeanor ever came across as arrogant in my videos or know-it-all. It turns out that's what happens when I follow the rules of inflection, diction, eloquence. What can I say? I read a couple of books and got better. This shit surprised me too, but then I realized that the guys that narrate TV commercials don't speak like that in real life. That calm and almost perfect English and shit. Like the brother from the Allstate commercials doesn't say the word motherfucker in his personal life. I kind of learned what voiceover work is like by doing these videos. I may pursue it, or it may find me. But if only y'all knew, I'm totally the opposite of how I sound on here. Well, not this video, but arrogant, super confident. I don't even wish I was those things. I've actually been criticized as too humble. I'll get a bit more personal here, no biggie. People saying nice stuff to me, giving me too much attention, that bugs the shit out of me because I've taken a lot of personal L's in life. Physical fights, those are easy. You train, stay ready, shit's automatic. There's only one L I ever took in a physical fight, and I was jumped. And I was a fucking kid. But mental battles, when you go through trial and tribulation and you fall, man, even though you get back up, those falls get to you after a while. You get insecure, simple as that. So even good comments feel like you don't deserve them. But you know, that's some shit I work on like everyone else with their problems. Here's my secret that may help someone to being knowledgeable and gaining wisdom. Reading about something is great, no doubt, 100%. But at some point, you gotta actually do it and fuck up a little or a lot. I've failed more times than I can count, and I've never gotten used to it. I mean, I really can't stand failing. But I learned you gotta jump back into the cold, uncomfortable water. It's part of the reason why I take cold showers in the morning, to just keep from ever getting comfortable. I wouldn't be alive without constructive criticism, guidance, people telling me to do better with choices, and more important, how to do it better. I think that's one of the problems that we have. We're telling people what they need to do, but we're not telling them how to get it done. Me personally, I was that dude that was a daydreamer and slow on the uptake. But what I wanted, I worked at it, I focused on it, and I got it. When people with degrees, people who put in that major work for that piece of paper, tell me that I'm intelligent or should have a degree, I just don't think too highly of myself in that way. As I said, I wasn't the bright kid. Other kids were. And there's always a part of me that just rather be me and daydream and be loose and be weird, be free. The responsibility of being known as an intellectual. I don't know how Dr. West does that shit. Maybe I'm running from my intellect. I've heard that. All I can say is that for anyone out there that can relate, you ain't alone. Insecurity is a struggle. The anxiety of failure is a struggle. But that's the thing. I don't like living in fear. I claim my heart, my drive, my passion, my good nature, my inner strength. That's what I love about me. I've been through things and I feel powerful because of it. It's something I try to transfer to others when I speak on here. Or when I speak to other people, period. I ain't afraid to tell y'all, if it's not obvious with these videos, I mean, I give a fuck. I'm 100. In a society where a lot of people want to double talk and only be out for themselves, I'm a man that doesn't fit in. I never have, and I don't look to do so. Conformity is fear of being who you are, in my opinion. I told you, I don't like living in fear. I'm not just some rebel. I'm a person who sees a legitimate problem with the society I'm a part of. That's why I've never been a victim of peer pressure. I've never smoked. I never did drugs. I like my wine, but I'm not a drinker. As far as I'm concerned, all beer tastes the same, like shit. I never joined the gang. Bottom line is, if everyone is doing it, I question the hell out of it. To me, everyone is looking the same and doing the same. Heads down and in their phones. This YouTube shit is social media, as I said. You don't really know the people you watch, and I'm no different. So I don't mind y'all judging me. It's okay. I want you to use judgment. I want you to call me whatever you want. But if you're judging the man versus the message, just know your judgment isn't based on all the facts. Just what I gave you on here. The truth is, I'm weird and I'm not here for everyone. But if I did this channel the right way, then the message is for everyone. I'm talking about things that matter and things that are trying to be killed, like your spirit, your consciousness, conformity. Even your ability to judge is being assaulted with gray areas and doubt, which is some devilish shit, because that's literally how Satan works in the Bible. You're questioning what's morally right and wrong nowadays. You're questioning if adult situations are for children. That's not a question, folks. You know, to have faith in anything, fear must be overcome. But sowing seeds of doubt is another way to chip away at the power of judgment, belief, confidence. Faith is shaken when doubt is in play. And notice that in this era, y'all don't know what to believe. This is an age of reasonable doubt. And killers are getting away with murder with that shit. Some are actual killers, while others are killing y'all subliminally by the thousands. And and even millions. Spiritual assault. If you don't believe in the spirit, consciousness is being assaulted as well, because all you care about is what's on your phones. Meanwhile, your surroundings are losing their soul, block by fucking block. Until one day, you're gonna wonder why you don't feel alive. Why is life so boring without your phone? You're looking at what you see. I'm talking about the things, the problems that you can't see, but you're definitely feeling the effects. The boys in suits and the techno nerds and the super wealthy who run the world, they caught everybody hook, line, and sinker. They provided y'all with powerful phones that supplied y'all with information, and then they controlled the information. Everyone was supposed to be so much more intelligent and informed, but when the big boys were ready to change the world, they used the one trick that always works: fear. Right through your phones. Fear that they provided y'all with in the first place. How intelligent were all of the smartphone people if they weren't smart enough to be patient and to assess a situation? You know, Robin Williams said that having a cocaine habit is life's way of telling you that you've got too much money, which is true. You've moved up the ladder, but you're still a cokehead. You're still not in your right mind for proper judgment. So I'm saying, the minute y'all rationalize paying $900 for a phone is when y'all should have known y'all were on a very powerful and technological drug. I told you, when I see everyone doing something, I just question the shit. So I'm not normal, and that's cool as hell. Y'all know who really showed me some shit? Russell Brand. I follow comedians and I never really got into his comedy, but I like him as an actor and a speaker. I thought I was a wordsmith, but you need a dictionary for this dude. I mean, it's amazing. Former drug addict, hardcore. By his own admission, he says he will always be a drug addict because he knows he can relapse at any time. I bring that up because he's my kind of dude. A fuck up. You think he's down, but he climbs back up. Humbled, but better. Wiser. He knows what triggers him. Damned if he and I don't vibe when it comes to how things are, what's wrong, and the very real fact that we as a society could change all of this if we just believed that we could. And Russell is passionate as fuck. He has numerous channels. He lives what he preaches. Thousands watch, listen, and yet that's all they seem to do. Seen. Because I don't really know if they try to change things or not. I'm just saying, I'm not seeing any tangible effects yet. Just a lot of good comments. But what I'm getting at is this. If Russell Brand, a man with the attention of thousands, can't make people get out of their homes, and not just fight, but eliminate these mandates and laws going on around the world, then the change that I would like to see before our children become adults is going to take a lot longer than I had hoped. It's really gonna have to get worse before it gets better. It's truly on God's time. Which scares the shit out of me because, years ago, if the world actually gave a fuck about what happened on Shark Island in Africa to those human beings, those Africans, all those years ago, then Hitler and the Germans would have been on the world's radar and perhaps eliminated before the Jewish Holocaust ever happened. Keep thinking that what goes on in other parts of the world won't come to your doorstep. Keep on thinking that dumbass shit. I could say things, my own opinion, plant a seed, but only the universal God knows when it's time for that seed to sprout. Dick Gregory told no lies when he wrote that in his book entitled The Callous on My Soul. My last series of videos was my Hail Mary pass. I got as deep as possible. Black culture, with all of its knowledge and its people who really see it for what it is, we know it changes societies and builds cultures, but that also means it can change everything. Black culture is like the tree of knowledge. And notice how everyone wants to take from the fruit of this tree. Everyone. They take the fruit and they use the newfound knowledge for their twisted desires. They take the wisdom of black culture and use it for base things like self-wealth with no thoughts of serving others. We've seen exactly what white culture does. 400 years in America alone. It's still doing its damage. Mandates, censorship is coded language for master and slave. Look at the adults. No mouths, no opinions. Be safe, no matter the cost of your right to speak. Ask yourself a legit question, people. Adults, when will you ever be safe from germs or diseases? I'll tell you, when you die. But before that, a big part of life is being surrounded and exposed to diseases and germs. If it's that serious, don't ever kiss anybody again. But a lot of y'all will, so pull out of that fear. Look at the children in mass, no mouths, learning to conform, no matter what. I think that they will remember this shit. And when it happens again in their adult lives, it's very possible they're gonna do whatever they're told without question. Robots. This cannot be the next generation. A bunch of Howie Mandel germaphobes. And what's worse, this entire ordeal of 2020 and 2021 is now political, meaning it's theatrics, designed to play with your emotions and cloud your judgment, dividing the country even more than the previous administration, if that was even possible. It was slick too, because they didn't need everyone jabbed. They just needed a majority, just to have a split of some sort, between jabbed and unjabbed, because now y'all are at each other's throats. Literally, Biden and the government are pushing a divisive narrative. Check the psychology of this divisive rhetoric though, because it's quite devilish. See, if you're jabbed, even if you are a free choice, how does it make you feel to hear an unjabbed person speak with fear regarding a shot that you took? It can make you feel scared or even dumb for taking the jab. So you may begin to naturally choose a side even when you don't want to. After all, you can't unjab yourself. Meanwhile, the unjabbed, instead of noticing how their words and energy make the jabbed feel, are constantly being emotionally picked on by those that took the jab and politicians and the current president, which in turn fuels the unjabbed to be very vocal and rebellious. Tired of me saying jabbed yet? Yeah, me too. Welcome to the world of bitch-ass censorship. But the point is, see how both sides feed each other? Meanwhile, who are the ones starting all of this division? The politicians, the president, and the media moguls, aka lobbyists, in cahoots with them. Another point about the unjabbed, the media is treating this like airborne AIDS. The president is doing it as well. Okay, so we can play that game. Is a person without HIV able to give you HIV? No. No human being can give you a disease they do not have. So why fear the unjabbed? If they are testing negative, why make them the enemy when the enemy is the virus itself? Again, this is if you are not infected. You know, viral pneumonia is deadly and still exists, right? It's virtually indistinguishable from COVID symptoms, aside from losing taste and smell. Neither the jabbed or unjabbed are immune to spreading or catching COVID. Both can be COVID positive. So COVID-19 itself is the problem, still. Common sense, folks. And keep in mind that as time marches on, we will learn more about what we did and what we should not have done. The thing is though, I believe this is all deception. The politics and such, every bit of it. Now you have your players in position for the next round. COVID is the terrorist, Biden is the hero, but everyone knew he's too old for 2 terms as president. The Repubs are doing what they always do, make the other side look fucked up. And depending on the year, it's vice versa. Year 2 and 3, the Repubs will be showing who they will support for presidential candidate. Trust me, they already know. They're just gonna unveil him or her in dramatic fashion, because you gotta attract the people. In the end, you know what I think? New president in 4 years, easy. And COVID, the narrative is gonna be, we gotta live with it. Just like we should have did from the very start. If we walked in truth versus fear, then you'd know that actual science dictates that the family of Corona is here to stay. It's been around for a long time already, which is why you saw Corona on Lysol cans. That wasn't COVID-19, but it's the family of it. I mean, here's an interesting fact. There was a time when the Orthodox Jewish community was dealing with the measles crisis. It turns out they were getting misinformation about the measles vaccine, so they chose not to take it, which means a bunch of people were getting measles like crazy, but it was pretty much only affecting the Orthodox community. Yes, New York was concerned, most definitely, but still, measles was only happening to people that did not have that vaccine. That's it. That's it. So even though the ultra-Orthodox community went through that little measles scare, New York City, we wasn't paying that shit no mind. Zero. Because we were full of a vaccine that kept you from getting the measles. That is a vaccine that worked. And if you look at what they're doing now, the only thing they did with these new ones is basically move the goalpost. We went from eliminating a viral threat to just making the symptoms less severe. Demand a vaccine that works, or trusting in natural immunity, or use prevention. That's it. Doesn't get any better than that, right? There's no vaccine for HIV. So you use prevention. You cannot use your natural immunity because HIV is literally designed to destroy your natural immunity. So you have to use prevention. See, you got 3 options, and you should always have 3 options. Meanwhile, weird logic has y'all standing 6 feet apart, but it's safe to eat with each other. And yeah, that sounds crazy, right? That's cool, but here's a fact. Politicians know each other. They work in the same circles, the same building. They have to know each other in order to govern over 300 million people. The same way a lot of lawyers in family court know each other. Those that have been through that shit know what I'm talking about. Cunning, lies, deception, division, death by a virus that, as I said earlier, is looking like old Doc Fauci in the United States supported monetarily. Folks, this is not black culture. This is white culture. It sows division and fear. It sows distrust. It establishes a classism of white and black. In some way, rich and poor, leftists and right wing, Republicans and Democrats, jabbed and unjabbed, division. And don't you find it ironic that in black culture, most of us have resisted this situation from the very start? In black culture, we have our reservations, our apprehensions. We got fucking questions. Due to ingrained wisdom, we are concerned about all of this shit going on. Because my people, we see this as so familiar. The wisdom is in our blood at this stage. 4 centuries. The cultures of black and white are very damn real. What they have done is very damn real. What's not real are the so-called humans of white and black. Any human being of any ethnicity, if you're about righteous work, forward-moving change, ingenuity, non-conformity, survival despite fear and oppression, advancement of the race of human, black culture is your God. It's your refuge. You don't have to conform. You can be who you want to be, as long as you do recognize forward advancement and righteousness in regards to how to treat your fellow man. That's a human right. If you can't understand morality, if you can't see that another human being has the right to live and the right to make their own decisions that do you no harm, then you're a savage and you do not belong in black culture. In black culture, historically, all have been welcomed. This is why black culture is magnanimous. That's why it endures, and that's why I believe it's the key to turning all of this around in time, with effort and unity. I don't mind being wrong, but I don't want to fail those I'm trying to help. I don't want to indoctrinate you, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, if the message is for everyone, you don't want to sound like it's not for everyone, But then I remember, if a person wants to understand your message, they'll watch more. That way they can get the better understanding. You're not going to just watch one video, Like how you speak doesn't really matter if folks genuinely want the message. An email isn't overly long when it comes from someone that you respect or love. So I may as well do me, as the elders say. Be your authentic self. Talk your talk. Do my videos my way and love what I create. Because no one else may. And in my opinion, all of you should do the same. And if you know you ain't good with disrespect, fuck the haters. Don't give them no shine. That YouTuber who I emailed, not that I'm saying fuck that guy, but still. In part of his email, he said, if you don't allow comments, then all you doing is talking to the wind. Word. And yet YouTube years ago disabled all comments featuring children 13 and under in videos. That's a lot of videos. Those videos got tons of views and subscribers. And those comments were disabled because not even children are off limits to sick online behavior, as you can see in this picture. YouTube has a problem with its comments, man. Check this video. What is death? And the importance of sand. One of my most personal videos because I talk about my son passing away. It's one of my favorites. Over 50 views, that's not it though. Those 7 or 8 likes, that's what I'm cool with. Even if it's 1 or none, it's out there for someone to eventually vibe to it if they need it. I see those likes as someone being helped, not someone who agrees with me. So talk to the wind, folks. Sound travels. Somebody may hear you. All I've been saying is watch what you say. Consider that for all of you other YouTubers. Watch what you say. Before I wrap up, let me speak on 3 important things. 1, journalism. Not all of us are doctors, but I hope I showed many of you, if not all of you, that we are all capable of being good researchers. The COVID videos were examples of journalism. One guy told me they were both well done and the second one had things in it he never knew about. He and his wife enjoyed watching it. He said it must have took you hours to do that second video. The answer would be months, actually, because I needed time to pass in order for more things to reveal themselves and to research. I talked to people in New York and other parts of the world, but I'm a New Yorker, so I had a lot of good New York intel. When I said the hospitals were where people went to die, that was real. You all saw the body bags, but not the stories of how the hospitals were overrun and doctors ain't know what to do. People didn't have to die, but they did. The news ain't gonna tell it like that though. The streets are where it's really happening. The news spins it. Don't forget that shit. If the second video showed you nothing else, look at those stats. How many hospitals we have versus Americans. Your government consistently takes funding away from health and child programs. People of black culture, it doesn't matter what your color is. If you're part of the culture, I need you to listen. I explained lobbying to you right here in this video. People say lobbying is not right. That is 100% true. Politicians shouldn't be swayed by money. But we gotta face facts. They are, for the most part. And until the day of an honest politician happens, we'll have to use these money-hungry devils to get the work done. Anyway, look at the buying power of African Americans and also look at the historical importance of black culture. If you're about the culture and lobbying power, then you'd start building hospitals. And to be clear, good hospitals with caring physicians around the fucking nation. Hell, you can even expand into other countries possibly. One of the keys of successful marketing is knowing what people need. You dig it? If it's about the culture, don't have the culture looking like shit. It's gotta be gold standard hospitals, a place you'd send your own mama to. Something I learned from the ultra-orthodox. Make your culture as indispensable as possible. Have the roots of your tree so deep that when they shake the tree, a person of black culture falls out of it. Make it so if they try to cut the tree down, it'll fuck up the very fabric of the economy, son. For instance, the streets of New York ain't busy during the Jewish time of Rosh Hashanah. Jewish businesses are closed during that time. Look at how different the New York streets are during that period. Think about what I'm saying. Again, make sure your culture is as indispensable as possible. Message. This is America. Money over lies. It's sad, but we're dealing with generations of fucked up programming. But I just showed you how to change the game by injecting righteousness while gaining real financial and thus political influence. As I kept saying, political strategy. 400 years, black culture, do we know the game or not? Come together. Wealthy people or not, doesn't matter as long as you're all professionals in your dealings and have the knowledge. And build more hospitals and own those hospitals. Create thousands of jobs in an industry that will always be in demand and always ready for the next pandemic. Because manufactured or not, there will be another pandemic. More hospitals. Don't vote for it. Put money and manpower where it's needed instead of hoping one lion-ass politician is going to change it. Lobbying is how they changed old, great New York to this new Disney bullshit. It's how they turned Harlem from black to white. Speak with your money. Own your businesses. Make it successful and watch how the leeches and suits come out the woodwork. But don't be scared of them. Use them. They have knowledge. They know how to do slick shit. True journalism shows history. It shows the truth. And it gives the people warnings as well as blueprints to do it all better the next time around. Writing the videos are easy. The research and the patient are not. But if you give a shit and know that what affects you is going to affect us, then you persevere. The racism videos, journalism, black folks being the most violent people. I got that bullshit out of here in less than 10 minutes with journalism. True journalism, historical research. Please don't let them die, people. Use screenshots to save legit information before it's scrubbed from Google. You'll notice in my videos I show reputable sources of information, major news outlets, just so you can see that they said it before they deny it later. Peer review study screenshots. Very little Wikipedia. No fake news, no clickbait. Our intelligence is being insulted on a level that we've never seen, and there is a generated fear that binds society. No matter what happens after today, don't let everything that happened to us just be history. They want you to stay in the moment. These constant streams of negative news, sickness and death, and political theatrics on your phone. This way you assume the future can only be negative. But they don't want you to remember the past, how things got this way, because then y'all can connect the dots. As Jeremiah Moss said, to remember is a radical act. To remind is to resist. I think there's a collective assault on your memory and emotions, and they use social media to do it because you're all connected and too addicted. Look at the picture. We gotta learn from the fuck ups, or we ain't learned shit. It's on us. 2. Land of the free is a damn lie, and those of black culture know this. In actuality, there's always limits on things you can do, because you can go too damn far, hurt someone or hurt yourself or break something, etc. Freedom means do as you want, when you want. Well, in black culture history, you'll see that when you do that, give humans freedom, people get raped, enslaved, beaten, burned, killed, all kinds of shit. Towns are destroyed because there's no laws, no righteous understanding, no morals. Freedom, if you understand the history of the human, is not something we are good with. We eventually search out for balance, stability, leadership, direction. There is always a hierarchy. I said that in the atheism video. There will always be a leader or leaders, so we need to use history to make sure they lead with humanity in mind. There will always be a sort of society because humans are social beings. We go a bit wacky, left alone. And yes, we are somewhat responsible for one another, because we affect one another. This is truth. But again, there are limits. There must be balance. Life has shown us this. You see, if you're too social, then you lose yourself. Your life becomes predicated on others. Too many leaders leads to confusion and disagreements, and being too responsible for the lives of others doesn't allow those people to make mistakes. You become an overlord. You take away their freedom of choice, their freedom to live their lives. I am my brother and my sister's keeper, but I am not the master of their souls. Do y'all understand me? I hope you do. Watch out, people. Look for these words. Quote for your own good or quote for the greater good. One sentence takes away your freedom of choice like a child. Yet you're an adult. The other sentence has been used to put people in concentration camps, take away land from humans, make humans slaves, and even human guinea pigs. Know the history of black culture and you will see the tricks, the words used to divide families and commit atrocities. If you're indigenous, you know these words. If you're Jewish, you know these words. Stay vigilant, people. Be careful because these unfit leaders and their agents in the media and celebrity mouthpieces are using your empathy, your desire to be social against you. Learn from black culture. The way to make a slave is to take away food, water, sleep, shelter, family, and hope. Hope is being sold to millions with these mandates, and hope can be easily taken away by those who give it. It can then be resold like a drug. Lastly, any man, woman, and adolescent, check your mind state. The video about the American Indians, how all this started, what this country is built on, not the land, but the society. I was showing you that American culture, what we are all a part of, cares about nothing more than aggression, division, and classism/racism. Winning at any cost, savagery, and if need be, deception and murder. Even the politicians and presidents of America have committed crimes, usually theft or money laundering, mob shit, time and again, like crazy. But when you do it, you're a criminal. This is America. It's always about being the biggest and the best. Look at your commercials. You must have what's new, what's tasty, what's sexy. You must have it, and it changes all the time. The society only respects conquerors and alphas because that's what's programmed from the beginning. Then a man like King, a flawed man. I like to keep saying that. He was a flawed man, no doubt. Regardless, he comes along with a different kind of strength, conquering things cerebrally, spiritually, like the biblical Jesus almost. And like Jesus, he was murdered because he was something new and something powerful, and he was a threat to everything this country was built on. The next time you think you're tough because of all of the shit you've been through, all of the fuck-ups, realize that if this society, this government were different, you wouldn't have had to be so damn tough to make it. Quote unquote, no child would be left behind in real life. Not just something the politicians say to catch your sympathies. We could have all been challenged to be more creative, kind, inventive, artistic, intelligent, philosophical, and not programmed to be the toughest, the meanest, the coldest, the prettiest, the baddest bitch or nigga. Stupid shit that don't amount to nothing in the end. But it gets you through at the time. No doubt about that. Because as I told you, it's the only thing we are programmed to respect. Conquerors. Y'all literally elect liars. Because it's how the country is built. No Christian, a true one, could ever be a president because you'd have to be willing to kill people to defend America. But there's been a lot of so-called Christian presidents, haven't there? Why y'all surprised when they get caught lying to the American people? I think they said Manhattan was bought from the Indians for the equivalent of $25 fucking dollars. Liars, cheats, cunning is what this country is built on. It's what we have been programmed to respect. Biden has lied numerous times. No mandates. Now, mandates. Y'all allow the liars. Get that right. Y'all allowed this behavior to stand. And when someone speaks truth and say, look, he lying, I got proof, y'all look at the person like they're crazy or laugh at him like y'all did to George Carlin. One day ask yourself, if society, and by extension the neighborhood you grew up in, were different, were better, and challenged you differently in a way to expand your mind, what kind of person would you have been? And do you think that person would be better than you are today? Because usually the answer is hell yeah. Shit, how many times have you and your people got together and thought about if things were different when y'all grew up? How many times? How many times do we, so-called black folks, dream? We dream because reality is not good enough. Not for us. Never for us. And that's why we are the kings and queens of imagination, conceptualizing and actualizing. Why is black culture so powerful, so inventive? Why are so-called black folks so damn good at making greatness from nothing? Why are they so intimidating? The answer is easy. Challenges, motherfucker. Literally generations of challenges. We have the empirical data on this. Science as well. You make life difficult and incredibly challenging. You surround an ethnicity with division, human immorality on the highest level, rape, slavery, castration, and add death to the mix as well. And those who survive that immorality are ingenious, creative, crafty, intelligent, and passionate about doing whatever it takes to live another day. That's our past black culture. That's the giants whose shoulders we stand on. That's our kin, our blood. A culture is made up of its people. That's why black culture is survival, strength, ingenuity, hope, perseverance, righteous against the tyranny of an oppressive force, and a spirituality that stems from our descendants that were close to the land, not the religion that was beaten into our people, into our ancestors. Look at all those protests around the world for one black dude who simply died at the right moment. Black is in every nation. The culture permeates every single society. Everything we have gone through in the past and still to this day, and yet things aren't where they should be. Because we simply haven't accepted that the people around us are not fit or remotely interested in changing the world for the betterment of everyone. That's why I keep saying it's on us, people of the sun, Aboriginal, ebon skin, Ethiops, Negro, black, humans. Shit. Even now the government is pandering to the color black. Things about to get super black. Matter of fact, I believed I saw something that said YouTube Black is on the way. But they're already censoring voices, black and white, whatever color. You're gonna think things finally changing until they tell you to say this and not that. Let me tell you something, unless this entire government is replaced from top to bottom, it ain't nothing but a setup, man. It ain't nothing but a fucking box. And I say, channel that inner nigga inside us all and break that shit with your mind and then change this entire reality. Look at the picture. Matter matters. Change the world atom by atom, invention by invention. Build with a righteous purpose, and society will follow suit, just like they were willing to spend $900 on a damn phone. You won't even have to mandate the change, because as long as the words, the pictures, the video, the sound exist, this time, white culture will not be able to erase our history. Look at God. Look at the universe trying to right this ship after 400 years. Because the only way we can build a better and new future for this country is with a foundation we no longer question. No more doubts. A foundation that the next generation can see and learn about in class without any revisionist history or whitewashing. So come on down, Generation Alpha. Come on and show these humans how it's done. Myself and others are laying a digital foundation for your success. Get rid of these old sons of bitches and make way for the new. Amen. Dropping My Opinion by TYR. Free. Thanks to my wife for always checking my videos to make sure my point comes across correctly and criticizing parts that needed redoing. Thanks to Sharif and his boy Steve for giving me feedback on the videos I sent to him. Like a lot of people, COVID was a tough time for Shy and his family. I wanted to make sure stories were told as they happened. People died needlessly by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands. Don't ever forget, health is wealth. I'm gonna say it again, build more hospitals. There was a time when they tore them down, rebuild them. Thank you to the people who inspired me to create this production. Richard Gregory, Martin Luther King Jr., my deceased son, Giovanni. I don't know if it's true, but I imagine your energy flowing through my hands as I write. If it feels like it needs to be said, I'll write it and say it. Righteous energy, man. My mother, my customato, is constantly telling me that the whole world is against me and that I can die at any day. So don't take life for granted. You can do anything and fight no matter what. Don't give up. Take the hits. We all do, but get your ass up. Imagine constantly hearing this shit. I told you, old New York was no joke. Shout out to Red Hook Projects and Do or Die Bed-Stuy. Shout out to the DCEPs that jumped me in junior high school. No shooting fair ones in old New York, boy. But that's okay. Y'all woke me up. And sometimes the lion appreciates the jackals. My dad, the old war horse, hands of stone. Still alive, got COVID or pneumonia. We don't know since one test came positive and the other one came up negative. But either way, he whipped its ass. These are my parents. And if I was made a different child, they would have drove me to be scared of the world. But God gave them the right kid. Check the resume. I'm 48. Zika pandemic, SARS pandemic, HIV and its variants pandemic, influenza and its variants, the bird flu, the swine flu pandemic, 9/11. As a New Yorker, it was worse than COVID, easy, without a shadow of a doubt. And anyone who says different obviously forgot. You had to be there to know what I'm saying. Seeing people jumping out of buildings and crashing to the ground. I worked right there on Rector Street at the World Trade. Burned body parts from the plane that hit the building, exploded onto the streets, man. A co-worker took pictures of the body parts. Across the street in Battery Park City, they was collecting body parts. Somehow they got in the sewer. I don't even know how that happened. Just imagine, on any given day, a plane just flying into the building. Every single airplane over our heads was a suspect for months. Every train ride was a potential bomb attack or anthrax. COVID-19 ain't got shit on 9/11. West Nile virus, violent criminals, drunken drivers, cancer. All of this shit, all of this is to say, it's okay to be scared, but give it time. Because take it from my mother, nothing new is happening. Death, you gambling with your lives each and every day like you've been gambling. Half of y'all still running up in women without condoms, and HIV is out here running wild like Hulkamania. It's far too late to be scared of death now. 2020, I hope it taught y'all that it's time to work on making peace with the game we all play. Stop being such hypocrites, man. Grow up. Look at what you've gone through instead of what you're going through. When the present finds you surrounded by trial and tribulation, these challenges, the past is where you'll find your strength, your character. Surviving the past allowed you to be present. There are 7 billion people on this planet and 7 billion unique lives, which equals 7 billion ways a human can die. 7 billion ways to die, and yet here you are. Life isn't about no fucking luck. Luck is winning the Powerball. If you're alive, no matter what your circumstances, you've earned it in some way, shape, or form. That is simply the truth of it. So what will you do about your future? What will you do with the time that's left? Peace to the nations. Peace to the gods. Peace to the earth we all live on. One race. One love.